going back to 2008, the United States has gotten off to really good starts. They've always finished the way they've wanted to. Think about this. Going back to 1993, the team leading after the opening session has won the Ryder Cup 60% of the time. And for what it's worth, the last time they opened with a foursome session on European soil was 1993. That's the last time the United States has won over here. So, Paul, what do you make of Zach Johnson's strategy for tomorrow morning?
Yeah, I think it's what I expected. I'd agree, maybe the Burns situation, but, you know, if you're looking at the statistics, is it a golf course that's suited to him? He's a wonderful putter. We know that. We know he's a great friend of Scottie Scheffler's. But then you look, and, you know, and this is when I say, and I look and I say, well, would you put Wyndham Clark in? Well, probably not as a rookie, and would his game be tailor-made? You know, Spieth and JT, you'd have to say the form is not great. And, you know, and then you look at Brooks. Again, his form is not great. I mean, his last four positions, he's been 64th, 38, 38, 24th. And he's not playing against particularly strong fields. So it's not like he had loads of options on the sideline. Yeah, I think it is what it is. It's a strong American team. I'm going to say that again. On paper, it's strong. But at this moment in time, and I could be proved wrong on this, you know, I just think that they're not as primed for a performance here this week as the Europeans are. And a lot of it has to do with maybe the FedEx schedule, which, you know, the last time it was played, I remember coming and before they came to France, and they had a huge amount of FedEx events, and then straight in from Tiger's victory straight into playing in France, and they'd over-golfed. This time, I think they're slightly under-golfed. That's just my hunch. I could be proved wrong. We'll wait and see.
But he's talking about staying fresh because it's a physically demanding golf course in the heat. I mean, this is, as he said, the hottest Ryder Cup he can remember. Here's that he has his strategy, and part of that is to make sure his players have enough gas in the tank come Sunday.
I get that, and both captains are going to rotate. That's quite clear. This is going to be in the 80s. It's a big hilly walk. There's no doubt about that. So there's going to be a big reliance, more than we've seen in previous Ryder Cups, on the 12 players. So I take that. But I'm talking about competitiveness. 5 weeks from not playing a tournament and then coming into a tournament of this size, that for me is a huge gap.
Let's take a look at the guys who are sitting for the United States. And Brandon, I think a lot of fans, you know, would wonder why this vaunted duo, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, would be on the bench. I know you've done a deep dive on the numbers, so what's the reasoning do you suspect?
Well, they've got a nice record, certainly, and they're the fire, I would say, of this team, or have the potential to be the fire of it. And who knows, maybe they'll go on to be the stars, but they're not hitting on all cylinders. And in foursomes, you'd like to have some guys finding the fairways. Jordan Spieth is 119th in driving, actually. Justin Thomas, 140 in driving, actually. And we look at Wyndham Clark, he's the least accurate player on the team. And driving, actually, you'd like to have somebody string along some fairways. I would just say with Brooks Koepka, push back a little bit and say, we well know that Brooks Koepka, more than any other player, can flip a switch. He can turn it on. And I think if he would have played with Scottie Scheffler, he'd probably had something to prove. He'd been first off against Rahm and Hatton. That's probably a little bit more motivating than playing in the live events. We've seen it in major championships. This has a major championship sort of aura to it. So I look at Brooks and I think that's the question mark to me. I understand that Scottie Scheffler and Burns are great friends, but I just don't know why you would mitigate the ball striking of Scottie Scheffler. The only thing I will say is if Scottie Scheffler tees off first tomorrow on the first hole, just the way the par threes fall, because 3 of them are odd number holes, that means obviously he would be hitting on those odd number holes. And just the way it falls is he would roughly hit 2/3 of the approach shots, and Burns would hit 2/3 of the putts on the greens, assuming Scottie Scheffler would have hit the green. So it could work out. But having said that, man, that is a big, bold play by Zach Johnson to put Burns out there first.
Yeah, he's working to a plan. There's no doubt there's going to be a lot of rotation here. Expect to see a lot more rotation than we've seen in Ryder Cups. I'll be surprised if there's more than 3 players out of the 24 who will have played all 5 sessions. I would definitely have the under on 3.
I will say this. Scheffler's got a lot of pride. He's the #1 player in the world. He was not happy with the way he finished the FedEx Cup playoff season. I would expect a good response from Scheffler. That would be a big statement for the United States if world #1 can go out, carry his guy, get the point on the board. And then I think Harman and Homa have a chance to be tough outs this week for the Europeans. And if they can go get the hottest
Look,
player in the world, and Victor Hovland, they could tip the momentum very quickly to the United States.
Look, agreed with those second points there. But as it relates to Scheffler, again, just another question mark. You know, it's well known that he's been working with a different coach on the putting green, and not particularly very long. Since we're in Italy, I think it's appropriate to make an analogy along what you do in the kitchen. When you're cooking, you don't think about eating. You think about cooking. And to see somebody out there thinking about cooking, perhaps on the greens, is probably not the ultimate scenario.